What subwoofer size is best for you?
Uh, yeah, uh, bass.
You. Well, first thing you have to figure out is how much airspace you're willing to give up in your vehicle. The more
Yeah,
airspace you give up, the bigger subwoofer you can actually run. The
movies.
next thing is you have to understand what different size subwoofers do differently. So, a larger cone area is able to move more air. Also, a subwoofer with more excursion, more X max, is able to move more air. So the subwoofer can only move so far forward and backwards as it's moving, right? And there's a wave going to it, and that wave and that AC wave that's going to it is telling it what to do. As long as that wave is strong enough to move that subwoofer to its full extent and back down again on those frequencies, it's going to reproduce the note you're trying to play accurately. The larger that cone is, the more air it's going to move while it's doing that. The further the excursion is, the further it's going to move while it's doing that. So it may be a short excursion and playing this frequency, right? If it has a longer excursion, it may be moving this much and playing the same frequency. Okay. That means as long as you got enough power to support it, and as long as that wave's clean, it's going to do the same thing no matter where it's at. Now, the longer the excursion is, again, the more air you're moving. The more air you're moving, the more loud volume you're able to reproduce while you're playing low notes. Now, even a small subwoofer can play low notes as well as a large subwoofer can. The difference is a large subwoofer can play those very low notes at a high volume, whereas a smaller subwoofer is not going to be able to play it as loud of a volume. Now, the problem with putting a large subwoofer in a small vehicle is you need a lot of airspace to support that large subwoofer cone. Not just baffle, not just the part where you mount the subwoofer, but the airspace inside the enclosure needs to be much, much bigger to support that movement of that driver. If you try to put that large diameter driver in a small airspace enclosure, you're going to restrict its ability to move. So now, instead of being able to follow this wave, right, and go up and down, it's going to be like this, right? The wave's wanting to go up, but the subwoofer can't move because it's in such a tight airspace. There's way too much spring in that, and it's getting restricted in its ability to move. Now, can you fight that? Yes. You can put a whole lot of power on it and force that subwoofer to compress that air in that enclosure and get that movement back. So even in a very small enclosure, you can get a lot of excursion as long as you have enough power to move that subwoofer. Now, on the flip side of that is, if you're taking that subwoofer basket or that subwoofer cone and using it to highly compress a lot of air, there's a good chance you're going to damage the subwoofer itself, physically damage it. It's going to, while it's trying to compress that air more than it was designed to, it could rip the surround out, tear up, blow the dust cap off. All kinds of crazy things can happen to destroy or damage the subwoofer. So the best option is to get a subwoofer that matches the airspace you're putting the enclosure in. Get the right enclosure, get a custom box built to match the specs for that subwoofer. That way, when it's moving, it has the right amount of pressure, not too much, not too little, and it's going to be able to accurately reproduce the frequencies from like 20 hertz up to like 80 hertz. And therefore, all your bass will come through. If you want it to be much louder, then you're going to need to sacrifice a lot more volume space in your vehicle. Build some kind of wall or some kind of large enclosure to give it the airspace it needs. Nothing is free in this world. Anyway, guys, I hope that helps you figure out what sub you need to put in your vehicle. And if you still have trouble figuring that out, contact a good stereo installer, one like Carmel Car Audio.
Uh,
They'll help you out. They'll give you the right design, get you the right enclosure for the right speaker, and make your stuff sound amazing. And if you're looking for a good product,
Yeah.
you want to buy it online, head over to Big Jeff Audio. Use my coupon code CAE for a discount on everything over there, especially that stuff from B2 Audio. It can never be too loud, baby. Peace.